Okay, so
Oh,
I had a very bright idea since we're all gamers that we should all collectively come together and do some cool top lists and whatnot. Obviously, there's four of us, so it might be a little weird to do a top 10 unless we do some like before planning and discuss like let's vote on some of this, whatever, and then we'll come up to like a group consensus. But for this one, we all kind of wanted it to be a surprise, so we all just chose a couple villains to talk about, and this will just be our top villains from video games. I'm super excited about this. I'm can't wait to hear what you guys pick. I don't know who wants to start it off, but if
I
nobody
think
else,
you.
me,
This
Yeah,
is
okay, I'll
yeah.
start it off. All right. Let's see who I will pick first because so this is in no particular order. Obviously, like I said, we're not really doing a top 10. It's no particular order. These are just our favorite villains. I'm gonna pick one that probably a lot of us have potentially played if we played Call of Duty games, especially the OG Modern Warfare
I
series.
already know. I already know.
Oh,
This guy.
I wanted to go with my first selection being General Shepard. I
Oh,
felt like that moment in gaming
oh.
history was such a big deal to us little boys at the time. The betrayal, the absolute devastation, and tears that flowed, just like, oh my God, Roach and Ghost are dead. We're seeing
Shout
all
out
of this
Roach.
from we're
Shout out Ghosts.
we're seeing all this from their perspective. It was just mind-boggling. Like this is really happening, like even just setting
Yeah,
the
dude,
scene as
that scene had me confused at first. I
what the hell?
was
Like
like, wait, is this supposed to be happening?
you're
Yeah.
like I had to do something wrong for sure. There's just no way. And fucking you get tasked to get the DSM. You get the DSM. It's you and Ghost side by side, hordes of enemies. You Roach goes down. You're seeing everything from his perspective because it's fucking first person. Ghost is dragging you and fucking he throws out red smoke to get air support. You're like, cool, the air support arrives. We're gonna make it out of here. General Shepard comes through himself. You're like, oh, we got the big dogs. The reinforcements are here. Then all of a sudden he's like, hey, did you guys get the item? Yeah, we got it. And he's like, cool, one less loose end. One less loose end. What do you boom? Done. Finito. Ghost goes, no, tries to ready his weapon. Boom, finito. And you're just like, what is happening right now? This got to be this got to be one of the biggest betrayals in all of gaming history right here. It was just so. I also want to highlight how important that moment is, and even just talk about how it was repeated in the future in the same game but a different game in Modern Warfare 2 in 2023. I believe is when it came out. If not 2022, whatever the fuck, whenever it came out, right? They obviously redid the Modern Warfare franchise or whatever, right? And it happens a little bit differently, the betrayal, but a betrayal nonetheless. In this one, you get Graves, and his he's an ally at first, so all of his dialogue has a blue text or a blue name next to the text. So it says like your name or whatever character you're playing as. Usually, it'll show blue text. It shows Graves text and it has a blue name next to it. Once they betray you, and you specifically, I believe Alejandro says something to the either Alejandro or Soap says something to the veil of, well, let's just see what General Shepard has to say about that. Soon as they say that shit, Graves' name turns red, and he says General Shepard sends his regards. Instant betrayal. They capture Alejandro. They try to kill Ghost, try to kill Soap. None of them die, luckily. Thank goodness. Things happen a little differently. And I was just like, man, same thing when you actually talk to General Shepard, telling him that you're going to go after Graves and then go after him. General Shepard's name is in yellow, which kind of is like a little bit weird in and of itself, or whatever, right? Once the full like once the full what's going on as far as like the betrayal and all that shit sets in, his name also turns red too. So it's like even just like back then it was such a big betrayal. Today it's such a big betrayal. The culminating incident of you fucking finally taking him out as I believe it's Price and Soap, if I'm not mistaken. The crash and rust, which is everybody's fucking favorite Modern Warfare level, right? Soap or Shepard is this old man, you're thinking, probably somewhere in his late 50s, maybe early 60s. I don't know. He looks like an old man. He's putting the beats on fucking Price and Soap, beating the dog shit out of. You think, oh, this old man's all hurt, hobbled over a car and shit like that. You go to try to stab him. He's like, nah, son, plants your fucking head on a fucking car, knocks you the fuck out, stabs you himself. You're out of the fucking fight. Then fucking Price comes. He's another old man getting his shit rocked. He gets his looks in, but there's just a point where fucking where Shepard is on top of Price, and he's just like Minka, Monka, Monka, and fucking just caving his shit in. And the only thing that you have to try to stop him in this moment is, and like your what seems to be your final dying words, is you pulling out a fucking knife from your own body. And I'm talking, I've never been stabbed before and had to pull out a knife from my own body. They usually say to keep that shit in. But my God, the button press of a lifetime, it felt like I was pulling a knife out of my own fucking body. You pull it out, and he's just lining up the shot, and you throw the fucking knife at Shepard's head, killing him instantly. Goes right into his fucking eye, kills him instantly. So Price live. Unfortunately, our comrades Ghost and Roach fell. But hey, we got the mission done, and we got the motherfucker that betrayed us. That motherfucker was a great villain, and that moment in history, I feel like it literally echoes and was repeated again to some degree. Like just fucking a great villain, a great unexpected villain at that.
I
Very
have
well
to agree.
said.
Yeah. The whole fucking shebang too on top of it. And we got some charades from you too, which is fucking fantastic. Can't wait to make reels out of that later.
Yeah, I mean, I have never played any of the. I mean, I think I played like what was it? Whatever Black Ops came out on Wii. Okay, that's like probably the only
Dude.
Call of Duty story that I ever fucking like went in on. So
I wanna say like the Modern War, like the old Modern Warfare narrative had to have been the best written narrative in any Call of Duty that has ever been released from the beginning and now. Like Modern Warfare, like the first one, it culminated all the ideas, right? Like you got to learn these characters, you got to be attached to these characters, the brotherhood that it came with. Like as a young like kid, like you getting to experience and play that, like that, it was awesome. Like it was fucking great. And then you get to Modern Warfare 2, like and like it was a penultimate moment. Like even it being placed as on the list for villains is like an understatement. It has to be like one of the greatest moments in gaming history from like forever. Like it was penultimate. And then like Modern Warfare 3 was like it was just it was the cherry on top. Like it was fucking great. It everything that you got to be attached to and learn from Modern Warfare 1 and 2, it got wrapped up in 3. There was really no loose ends. Like it ended with Price fucking smoking a cigar. You know, like it was, dude, it was the shit. It was
a great moment.
Fucking awesome goddamn trilogy.
Talk about creating some patriotism in the youth.
I really don't think they could recreate something like this again. Like that, like they are trying to, and kudos to them for trying to create like a new space for Call of Duty, because like it must be hard to do that with all the criticism they get, regardless of what they release. But you can't beat that. Like there is just no way. Like I have to agree with them. Like General Shepard being on this list, it deserves to be on this list. Like that guy is a bastard. Okay, like
yes, absolutely.
Motherfucker, absolutely. Who's going next?
I can go next. I can take this to a lighter topic, I guess.
All right.
I don't know your guys' knowledge of the Tony Hawk games.
Oh,
but there is literally there is only one villain in the Tony Hawk games, to my knowledge, and that's going to be Tony Hawk's Underground's Eric Sparrow.
I'm not familiar.
Nobody knows who he is? No, okay.
I probably played all of them a little bit, but not the story specifically, like just going into like whatever creative mode to like do tricks and shit, you know?
He was like the dude, he's like your best friend, right? Like
yeah, he starts out in the game as your best friend.
Oh shit.
And then you wind up in like I think it's Hawaii, and you set up a helicopter in between two buildings. You do a McTwist over the helicopter. You get the footage. Eric Sparrow takes the footage and then sells it as himself, winds up getting sponsor deals, winds up getting all this shit, making so much money off of it.
Shit.
And basically you're left in the dust to try to figure your shit out. I'm kind of surprised Umbra isn't like more into this right now. I thought he really would be.
Oh, well, because I'm reading like two different things, but I'm keeping up because I'm calling back to it because he sabotages your career, and like you literally spend the whole time trying to fucking like knock this motherfucker down. Yeah. Yeah, it's an old dude. It's an
And in the end of the
old
game,
fucking game. Holy shit, dude.
yeah,
I
that was
wonder.
that was. I told you I was going back 21 years. That was
Holy
2003.
Do you get to
Jesus
like what do
fucking
you like?
Christ.
What do you have to do to do you get to like defeat him or like what happens?
Eventually, in the end of the game, you do. I think you wind up like he get hit by a car or something like that. I don't really remember. And then he winds up admitting that the tape was yours. And then for as a kid, it didn't make any sense to me because the personal character I made had a skull for a head. And I was like, how did he take that from me? His head is not a skull. It doesn't make sense.
Does he do you get to like is he a good skater also in his own right or is he just like meh?
I mean, I guess he makes an appearance in Tony Hawk's Underground 2, but he's not like a huge character. He is still one of the professionals that is a part of the game, though.
Okay. Does he do you get to like skate against him at any point in the game? Is there like a game of skate or like is it like a out do more tricks in him to get more points or anything like that?
In the end of the game, you wind up like chasing him until eventually he's like done.
Oh shit. And then he gets
Yeah.
hit by the car or whatever. That's wild.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It
fucking dope.
doesn't end great for him, but the game is a wild ride mainly because of him. And I just remember being a kid fucking screaming at my TV like, I'm supposed to be the famous one. What are you doing?
That's pretty sick though. I didn't know they had any kind of like villain or story like that in the underground
I
games.
I think he's the only villain throughout those games, though.
That's sick though. That's sick.
Hmm.
All right, who's next?
Shelly. Or do I
Um,
go next?
I can
Are
go
you
next if you want.
go next? Yeah, go.
I know at least one other person here will definitely probably understand my hatred for this character, because in my eyes, they're a villain. Abby from The Last of Us Part 2. I fucking cannot stand that bitch. I hate her with a burning passion. If I could have killed her at any point in time and her character stay dead in the game where I had to play her, I would have done it immediately. Like,
Is she the one with the big ass shoulders?
yes,
Big
yes,
brolic.
I know who you're talking
yes. And
about.
when I tell you, like, I mean, the game's been out for a while, so if you don't know that this happens, spoiler warning, like, when she fucking kills Joel,
Oof.
my heart is crushed.
There was no coming back from that for me. There was just no coming back from that.
Absolutely none. Absolutely none. I'm like, we just got into this game. We had everything that happened in the last game that made me bawl my fucking eyeballs out, okay? And now you're gonna send me into this game? And you're gonna make me play the bitch that kills one of my favorite characters? Absolutely the fuck not. And it just, oh god. And it just, when everything's happening at the end and you're watching, like, everyone around her dying, and, like, because she's fucking killing all of these people that fucked Joel up, like, it is such a satisfying moment for me. I'm like, yeah, fuck you and your friends. I don't give a shit that that bitch is pregnant. Like, and it's like such a fucking fucked up moment, but it's so, oh god. And yeah, they did a really great job with making you hate that character so much. It'll be really interesting to see what they do in the show to kind of set that tone.
That was actually going to be one of my honorable mentions was Abby Anderson from Last of Us 2. I couldn't quite get myself to pick her as the villain because obviously we do play her as a character. There is a very, very, very small part that does sympathize with her a little bit
Nah, fuck
because
that bitch.
because outside of what we know that Joel did, and I understand like her father and all that shit wrapped up in it and whatnot. That's like where the small, it's like, okay, I get it, but like no.
No, he was gonna
And
kill a little girl. Nah, dog. Fuck off.
yeah, for sure that, but it always the thing that really bothered me about Abby was that this man saved your life. And there's the whole like the game is essentially about like trying to break the cycle of hate and all that stuff and revenge and all that stuff, or whatever, right? And realistically, that should have happened for her in those beginning moments. This man saved your life. You see, he's not like a villainous person. He's not evil. He's not trying to do anything to you. He has no reason to save you other than he just did it. He just does it to do it. He don't know you. You never met him before in your entire life. He sees you're in trouble and he decides to help you. That moment should have been the end moment of the game to me, breaking the cycle and making her stop. The game should have been her trying to get to this point, and then like your adventures as Ellie and all that stuff, and then like this being the culminating breaking the revenge moment. The final culminating breaking revenge moment doesn't make any sense to me at all.
No.
Everybody's fucked up. This is pretty much the end. This is the opportunity. Why did you waste your time getting all the way to this point to not do it? It's like there's just so much like I don't understand. Like I get it, storytelling and all that stuff. It's great and grand, but it's just like no, fuck this bitch. There's so much that she did wrong.
Oh, when I tell you at the end of the game where that bitch just gets to go free, oh my god, I was like, no.
Where are my arrows?
Yeah, why is she not dead? Like, to be honest, the Last of Us series is probably one of my favorite game series of all time, and that game has put me through so many emotional roller coasters, and every time I play it, I cry. Both games, they just make me cry because there's something about them that actually just like emotionally captures you, and all the flashbacks of Ellie and Joel and everything, and it's so good. And to anyone out there that has not played The Last of Us, I cannot recommend it anymore.
I feel like the worst thing I hated about Abby was that she got fucked. Like, why do we need to see that? I don't know why they wanted to animate any part of that. It just wasn't necessary to me. I didn't need to see that. That was villainous in and of itself, a villainous act, literally. Like,
yeah, yes, yes.
We did not need to see that shit.
Feisty ass bitch. All right, Umbi, your turn.
I have a fun one.
Ooh.
Anyone familiar with a man named Handsome Jack?
Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't think of that. Fuck. Oh,
Handsome motherfucking Jack. As soon as you mentioned that we were doing villains things, one of my all-time favorite names for villains came up, and that is Handsome Jack of Borderlands. I don't know if anyone's played Borderlands at all.
Fuck out of some Borderlands.
I played the motherfuck out of Borderlands. I maxed out OP on fucking Borderlands 2.
Nice.
I was doing mayhem shit for Borderlands 3. I was collecting a lot of the Seraph weapons in Borderlands 1 and 2. Like I was going ham. But dude, the story is fucking insane. Like I don't know if Nick and Shelly has ever played Borderlands like that, but like it's genuinely like one of the
Only
fucking
a little.
It's one of the better looter shooters, I think. It is.
I'm kind of surprised that he doesn't like that, because the comedy elements I feel like would capture him so much.
Yeah,
I mean, I've played some of it. I've played what's the other one? The Wonderland, whatever it's called.
Oh, Tiny Tina's.
Tiny Tina's.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I played quite a bit of that one, but the other ones I didn't really play much of because I knew it was a multiplayer game, and I don't know, I just don't like multiplayer games usually.
Well, it's not necessarily multiplayer. I guess you can attest. Like it's definitely like a single player. You can play. The cool thing is like it is very flexible.
In, drop out.
Yeah, you can drop in, drop out at any fucking time you want. You can play it split screen. You can play it online with people. You can do it. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. It's looter shooter. It's like, you get addicted to getting the better guns, better loot, whatever, right? But the story is definitely like one of the crazier like elements of the game, I think. It's definitely cool because it's like it includes a lot of like pop culture references. Dude, it's very like in tune with like its audience. But Handsome Jack, the topic is Handsome Jack. And this guy is a narcissistic motherfucking asshole who basically poses himself as like a savior or a hero of the people. But like the way he carries himself is a very sarcastic and nonchalant form, and he's just it's so funny, very comical. He definitely treats the protagonist like a fucking like trash the entire way. Like in the game you have like an echo device where like everyone can communicate with each other, and throughout the game he makes like some sarcastic like quirky quips at you that like it's very taunting. It's fucking hilarious, but it's funny. Like the backstory for him is actually kind of fucked up. TB, I don't know if you knew this, but he stems from the fact that Lilith and Roland betray him by not helping him use the Eye of Helios in the pre-sequel,
Mhm.
where we kind of get to learn about who like John, that his real name is John, but you kind of
The
get to
clone of him or whatever, the guy that looks like him, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
well, no, like that's actually like a different person too. That's in a whole different game. But
Well, I
like
thought that.
the actual character, Jack, his real name is John.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
and like you play alongside him in the pre-sequel. You're on the moon of Pandora, and you get to see him as like an underling of Hyperion. Like
Mhm.
he's like literally like the bottom feeder of Hyperion, like the big fucking company. And he kind of like usurps his way to the top by being like the one of the first few people to like to enter the vault that was opened on Elpis, which is the moon. But Roland and Lilith and the group that you're with kind of betray him by not helping him kill off the rest of the people that were trying to kill you guys. By using the Eye of Helios, which was like a giant like planetary laser that could potentially destroy the fucking planet, which is why you kind of betray him by not using it. But in a dickish way, Lilith uses her powers to phase walk into the vault and grabs the insignia with some kind of magic and brands John's face with the
That's why it
vault
looks like
symbol.
that. Okay.
And so that's why in the second game he has a mask that kind of replicates his face because they fucked it up. They like burned the vault symbol, the V on his face. And so he hides behind the mask and like he becomes like the main antagonist. He kills the leaders of Hyperion in like a weird coup and becomes like dead ass like the leader of Hyperion overnight. And like in the second game, like you go through his endeavors throughout the entire game. He's a fucking asshole. He does kill off some things that are close to the group. You know, it's just it's an emotional roller coaster. If you are like emotionally connected to the characters, but Handsome Jack is definitely a motherfucking badass villain. Up until the end for sure.
I
I would
love
say,
his quips. He's so fucking witty in the
yeah,
in Borderlands 2. He fucking there was just so much dialogue and just shit talking that I was like, damn, this was great. Like, spoiler alert, in case anybody does want to play Borderlands 2, they fucking release these games like all the fucking time. So if you haven't played it, I'm sure somebody will play it at some point. But he when Bloodwing dies, he's just like
hmm
talking so much shit. And then just like he's going through the elements and all that stuff. Bloodwing's like mutating and all that shit. And then he's like, explosion. And I was just like, boom, fucking the head pops
yeah.
off,
It
whatever. And I
just
was like, oh my God.
after the death, he talks about the fact that he got a fucking crystal pony or like the fucking
Oh, the
uh
Butt Stallion?
yeah, the butt stallion. Yeah, that's Handsome Jack. Yeah, that's it's so fucking funny,
Oh
man.
my
You can act
God.
unironically that is a back bling that you could have acquired in Fortnite. Like whenever they had the Borderlands event, like they had like a whole Borderlands event. Um,
That's fucking
I
funny.
have the Psycho skin from that event. I thought it was pretty neat, but yeah, like Handsome
And
Jack's
the
badass.
fact that he just beat all of them. So I the pre-sequel, I only played a portion of it because I got that game like right before Borderlands 3 came out. And then it just didn't
Hmm,
hold my attention. And then Borderlands 3 came out, and I was like, I'm just gonna go on to the next one. Fuck it, or whatever, right? Because it's
right.
the pre-sequel or whatever. Um, do they ever talk about exactly what happened in the confrontation with the original group and Handsome Jack? Because I remember the story kind of being like he defeats the four of them. But from the pre-sequel, obviously, like you said, like we kind of teamed up with him and helped him to get to his where he's at and all that stuff. But
Right.
what did he do, or when did he come at them and defeat them by himself or whatever? Oh, I don't know that he defeated them by himself, but does it ever do they
So
ever talk about that in the story? Because I don't know.
when you're on the Eye of Helios, which is like the fucking huge H thing that's destroyed,
Yeah.
at on Borderlands 2, um, you're still teamed up with him, but you realize that like throughout the game, like he kind of has this very odd obsession with opening up the vaults. Like his true intention is to open up the vault and retrieve what's inside, because he thinks if he retrieves what's inside and harnesses that power, well then he won't be treated like such garbage, because like everyone around him treated him like trash. Like he was pretty much like memed on by the entire company he worked for. Like that's pretty much what it was. And so it was kind of like, oh, well, I want to get back at you by being the guy who opens up the vault. So I'm going to do this and open up the vault. And you, being a vault hunter, what else are you going to do besides go and hunt and open up a vault? So you're going to help Handsome Jack do this thing. And the antagonist of the game is she's a general of the Legion, of the army, that's also trying to open up the vault and usurp its power or whatever, right? And so you are going up against them. And so the entire time, like you're teaming on or Jack and going against them. But you see that the obsession for wanting to take and open the vault is starting to take over Jack. And so you kind of like break away from it because you can see the potential dangers. Like if he uses that laser, the fucking planet's gonna explode. And we already know that there is a vault on Pandora from the first game, and that will open up the destroyer, and that would immediately like end the world, right? So like we know as the player that we don't want that to happen, so we play as the vault hunter, and we kind of like like whenever you approach something in Borderlands 2, sometimes it'll give you like the stupid option, like press X to do this stupid thing. Well, it did that. Press X to betray Jack or betray him by not using the laser. And so by doing that, you pretty much turn on him, and so he turns on you, and like that's when he starts becoming an asshole to you. And so you don't play as Lilith, but you as the vault hunter witness Lilith phase walk into the vault and then fucking brand him after you've already like vault hunted. Like you've already like killed the final boss, which is like the three-headed chick, the big three-headed bitch that you have to kill. And then after that, he tries to take the power of the vault, but then Lilith like brands his face instead. And then that's where Borderlands 2 starts.
How does the I don't know if you know this at all, and I know we're supposed to be talking about villains, we'll get up there shortly, but just really quick. How does he go about, how do the split happens with the group? Because I think it's Athena, the fucking the sheriff girl from Borderlands 2, I forget her name, Wilhelm, who's like his like right hand man in fucking Borderlands 2, and Claptrap. I'm assuming they probably fuck with Claptrap's memory. That's probably why he doesn't remember any of that shit. So even if he was witness to it, I'm assuming he offered the sheriff lady, either offered her Lockwood or he offered her money of some sort to get her to be on his side or whatever. Aurelia just really wanted money and stuff like that too. So I'm assuming he probably could have done the same thing with her. Wilhelm
was like, he was half Cyclops, so like in a way, or like he was half like
a cyborg.
Cyborg. Yeah, not Cyclops, cyborg. So like he could have been like fucked with and tinkered with to like to go against you at the early game of 2, because like I remember that.
And then Athena's the only one that doesn't actually. She's the only one that doesn't join with him, right? I guess technically.
I don't if I remember, I don't know if she like joins Maya on that planet in 3, but I don't know. I don't know. It's been a while since I played them, but
the lore's insane though. There's a lot of fucking lore, and even just like hidden lore that like if you just go through the main story, like you're not gonna get all these like little tidbits of like extra dialogue and extra just like, oh, how did this person come to be, or why is this person on Pandora and shit like that from like the echo recorders and all all kinds of shit like that. It's a really dope game. It's a really dope game, a lot of lore. I recommend you guys play it if you guys haven't played it for sure. I guess it'll be my turn again. And so for the third villain, my final one is I hope that Pickle or Umbra don't pick him. But for the second one that I'm going to read off, I'm going to choose Albert Wesker.
He's on my list.
He's on my list.
Oh shit. Albert Wesker, I feel like is probably the biggest villain in Resident Evil. Obviously, he does so much shit. He's involved in so much of the background shit. He's the leader of turns out to be like the leader of Umbrella Corporation. And is he the leader of Tricell too? Are they two different companies? Or the same company? I forget how that fucking works, but he is the
Evil Fonz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is pretty much from the beginning behind everything, fakes his own death. He's running experiments. He's fucking doing all this shit. takes drugs to enhance his own fucking durability, fucking enhance speed, enhance strength, and is just an all-out villain. He just wants to fucking make these horrible. I think the point of Umbrella Corporation is they're trying to make like a super soldier that they can control. That's like their main goal. But I feel like I don't understand why they didn't just all make people take whatever Albert took, and just be like, hey, give it like a lesser dose or something so they're not as strong, maybe, but whatever.
So Umbrella Corp is like they first start just like trying to work on the virus to make the super like but their intent was not to make the super soldier yet. It hits a point where they try to take it over and use it for a military. I think it's between like 2 and 3. Somewhere in there is when they start to try and like militarize it. Because
Okay.
Wesker cannot Wesker wants to eradicate like human race. Like he has such a hatred for the human race, and it's so insane how it comes across. Like it's oh god, he's such a good character. He's such a
He's
good
fucking
villain.
And just thinking about like you fight him so many fucking times. I mean, you fight him in Code Veronica. Obviously, there's the Resident Evil 1 introduction of him as like the villain or whatever.
And
He's
he's
essentially
in
behind the
0.
scenes and he's in 0.
He's
He's
in
behind
0.
the scenes of 2 and 3 and all that shit that went down. I don't think he's not in 4, and he's literally the final boss in 5. And he's the final boss in 5, and they make a DLC where you can fight him again with Jill and Chris instead of with Chris and Sheva. But the fucking he pulls a handsome Jack move and has control over somebody with like a little collar device or the little thing that he fucking put on Jill. Like that dude had so much fucking tech and just ingenuity and just was fucking insane with that shit.
So
smart and strong.
he actually is in 4 because I remember at least. Yeah, I think he's also in both.
Oh, at the end.
But he's at the end when Ada gives him the specimen sample.
That's right. That's right.
So we get like one little snippet, but yeah, he's in 0. So you know who William Birkin is, right? Okay, he's with William Birkin in 0. Like them two are working together at like this researcher's place, and so it's those games are so good, dude.
The lore behind it all is crazy, and just like how he had his hand in so many things, and just the things that he did and the atrocities that he committed to were just like,
I mean,
oh, you out of here. You're not even on this planet no more mentally. You done with the human.
The betrayal. My thing was the betrayal in what was it, like 2, right? Was it 2 or 3? It's one of them. It's 2. It has to be 2.
One of the Raccoon City based ones, yeah.
Yeah, it has to be 2 because I think you could play either as Leon or as Rebecca, right? Is it Rebecca?
I think it's
no, it's the other
Chris's
chick.
sister.
Yeah, I can't remember her name right now.
Not Jill. Claire.
Yeah, it's when you're playing one of their storylines, I think you get to see like the sides of it. But it was just like seeing Wesker just betray everyone at Stars, and you're just like, hold on, like it's so good.
Intense villain. And then just a quick shout out to the final time we fight Wesker, and he just gets like the Ouroboros like infection furthers and gets like these tentacle worm like things on his arms, which like also grab onto like shards of metal, which just creates this horrific appendage that when you first deal with him, he's just like fucking whipping that shit around. And if you get hit by that shit, game over, pal, game over. Which leads to fucking Chris punching the fucking biggest boulder I've ever seen in my life. And him, there was just so much about that game that I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. He falls in fucking lava, still not dead. And what allegedly kills him, in my eyes, I think that Wesker might still be alive personally. I don't know.
Too.
I have nothing to fucking substantiate that claim, but that's just my personal thought. They shoot him with 2 RPGs, which, if you really look at that ending scene, neither of the 2 hit him square on. Both of those things land like right next to him. He's surviving fucking lava. RPGs land next to him, and we're supposed to believe that he's just dead. Whatever you say, whatever y'all say. Well, I hope we don't see him again. It was fucking tough. I mean, my goodness, I remember like shooting at him with so much bullets and he's just dodging that shit like the Matrix. Like that's what when I first fought Wesker, because I didn't play Code Veronica or anything like that, and I think that's the first time you see him with like the enhanced abilities. In Resident Evil 5, when he's in that little temple or whatever, then you're shooting at him and he's like dodging everything. And I was like, am I fighting an agent from the Matrix right now? What the fuck is going on?
I mean,
Like,
he's kind of dressed like one, so like
for real, the black leather outfits and shit. I was like, okay, or like they had I forget his name. He recently passed away, rest in peace. But the guy that played Wesker in the Resident Evil series, he was absolutely dressed like Blade or like somebody from the Matrix for sure. But he was supposed to be Wesker, and I was like, all right, that's what Wesker likes. So fuck it, But my goodness, man, he's like got a flair for the villainous-esque stuff is the black leather, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, gotta wear the black, gotta be a little emo with it, maybe a little goth, whatever your preference is, but gots to wear the black for sure, So, but shout out to Wesker, Albert Wesker, a great villain in a dope franchise for sure.
Is it my
Who's
turn?
next? Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know you guys didn't really flow with my first pick, and it was a little disappointing. But I know all of you know who my next one is, and that's going to be Zeus from God of War.
Yeah.
Ooh. How did I skip over that in thought? That's crazy.
Yeah, the reason I picked him is because of it's pretty much he kills you at one point, you as Kratos, I mean. And you pretty much have to escape from hell, which is like the premise of 2, right? I believe it's
like
the premise of 2.
That was like the beginning of the game, yeah.
Yeah, you have to escape from hell, find your way back to him, and fucking kill him, which takes place in through 2 games, which I love that so much because that you knew there was another one coming and you just couldn't fucking wait for it.
3 was fucking insane.
3 was one of my fucking favorites, dude, and that was the last time you got to see OG Kratos.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking phenomenally great, dude. I fucking love 3 so much.
And I don't know if you guys remember it, but I think it was in the most recent God of War where you see Zeus in the clouds.
Oh, and Helheim, yeah.
Yeah, that fucking I gave me chills. I was like, "Oh shit, is he gonna come back?"
I'm just curious how, like, with that though, like, I'm curious how, like, the bridge between like different pantheons go, because obviously that's a Greek pantheon, and you're coming into the realm of a Norse, realm at that, like, which is only
Like,
accessible
do you think
to...
at some point all of the gods are gonna come back to him? Or like all of the main
I
gods are gonna
I think in a
come
way
back to him?
they're gonna haunt Kratos in a way,
I was gonna
because
say that happened in the new one, didn't it? Not Ragnarok, but
yeah, it was Ragnarok.
Was it Ragnarok?
It was Ragnarok that Zeus,
he appeared,
I believe so,
in like in their like afterlife or whatever, when they went to the afterlife place or whatever, he appears and to Kratos. I forget what he said or why or whatever, but I do remember that though happening.
Well, that too, and another thing is like Mimir also, like the head, also knows tales of like the ghost of Sparta and shit like that too. So like, I'm curious of like the realms were always interlinked.
That was when he put 2 and 2 together, and he was like, "I thought there was something weird about you."
Yeah. Like, I'm just curious, like, have the realms been meshed like this entire time? Because if so, then these gods would know.
If Kratos is destroying so many things, it could just be meshing things together as it's happening.
That's true. Because like, if they knew of the ghost of Sparta, then they knew why he turned into the ghost of Sparta, which means they would have to know like what fucking Zeus did. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah,
it's still crazy. Like, whenever I seen that for myself, like I think in the first game it also happens too when you're in hell, and like Zeus's voice comes through to you somehow, and like even Atreus is like, whoa, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Zeus. I completely overlooked Zeus.
Do you remember the final scene of Zeus being alive?
I don't. I didn't finish 3.
I don't remember.
So it's basically you're hitting R2 and L2 over and over, and that's just a left and right hooks to Zeus's face over and over and over. Yup. And blood is getting all over the camera to eventually point where you're just looking at a red screen,
Mhm.
but you can continuously keep hitting. The cutscene doesn't continue until you stop punching. And I didn't realize, I was like, do I just keep fucking hitting this guy until the screen's black again? I don't know.
That's
And then
fucking
Zeus is
hilarious.
fucking dead. His face is hamburger meat.
Fuck.
You know what still blows my mind? Spoiler alert for people who don't know, but when you kill your family, that is a action sequence.
Oh shit.
Press O to kill daughter, you know, like brother. That's literally that happens, by the way. Like in God of War, like you have to
Yeah,
press.
it is. Yeah.
It's fucking wild, dude. Like
Poor
dude,
Kratos. Jesus.
like, yeah, sure, these newer God of War games are fucking badass, but man, they are so like vanilla compared to like the
Yeah,
fucking older
dude,
ones.
I want old Kratos back so fucking bad. I just want a murderer that doesn't care about his
Bro,
child anymore.
we could
Really?
smash and see titties, okay?
Oh yeah.
Like,
Facts.
Yeah, you
where
could.
is that in the
in
new
fact,
games?
in fact, you got red orbs for fucking in that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, hey, being the ghost of Sparta had merit. Where did it all go? Okay, like
We had a
Put some
kid and it
respect
just
on the
all
name.
becomes fucking politically correct.
yeah, yeah. He's gonna yeah. This is crazy, man. Jesus.
Um
Shelly Roseby.
okay, so my thing is like I have a couple from this series. BioShock. I don't know if anyone has played the first BioShock game. I recently played through it not too long ago. I really
That's right.
totally would recommend like giving it a go. Like it is really cool. Kind of pisses me the fuck off sometimes. But there's two characters. So there's Andrew Ryan who like created this place called the Rapture, this like utopia and all this stuff, and he is super fucked up because he is very much like fuck the poor, like all this shit, right? He has like all these crazy ideals, right? But the turning point moment in that game for me, right? You're talking to this guy the entire time. His name is Atlas. He's guiding you through this game. Like he becomes someone you rely on and someone you're listening to and working for. And we come to find out dude's name isn't even Atlas. We are helping him kill Andrew Ryan. He uses the phrase, "Would you kindly?" And that sparks like this, basically like it turns you like it's something I can't remember if it's like has to do with the drug thing or whatnot, but basically like he's able to control you at this point. Anytime he says, "Would you kindly?" he now controls you.
Oh
And
shit.
you're just like, what the fuck? And at the end, Andrew, you're like, you have to kill Andrew Ryan. And he says, something about like, he's like, a controlled man is like, blah, blah, blah. Like, he explains that he's like, basically, like, he's like, yeah, you're being controlled. And then he goes, "Would you kindly like kill me?" And then you kill him. And it's like, it's so crazy. It's so good. It's so good. And it's just everything. Like, there's so much lore to this story that I don't even know yet. But just everything that you see and like being played by this character you're talking to constantly in this game, and that's guiding you. And, they're just as equally as evil because they're the creator of the atom and all these drugs that made all these people go fucking batshit crazy. So yeah, those two, like just from that series, those are two for me that are really intense.
Think his name is Frank.
Frank Fontaine, yes. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Frank Fontaine and Andrew Ryan are both really good.
I played that
villains.
game when I first got my Xbox. And man, I would think about, dude, it was old. Like, dude, holy shit.
Yeah. I'm
I'm
thinking
fucking
about
bad.
playing the next couple actually.
You should.
Poker on
You
my
should.
list for sure.
I hear there
Watch
are, I hear there's like talks of them like trying to, I don't know, it's speculation, but I have heard that they are like putting out something potentially for another one. I don't know.
Interesting.
Isn't there talks about a series? I want to say too.
Probably.
Yeah.
The world
Yeah.
is so like cool and beautiful, just like the art style and like I love that. What is it, like dystopian style, like
Mhm.
like futuristic but not necessarily a futuristic / like steampunk vibe it has. It's really cool. It's really, really cool.
Let's see.
Umbrella.
Well, one got knocked off my list.
Which
For sure.
Wesker?
Oh, yeah. But I'm actually gonna pull out a very mainstream common one. And this is just because this video game series is one of my favorite ones of all time. I'm sure you can probably make out the triangles behind me and the shape that they are in.
Mm.
I know where this is going.
Yep.
Top villain for me, Ganon, Ganondorf, the
Nice.
Dark Lord himself. Um, in every Legend of Zelda game, there are hints of darkness. Where there is light, there is always darkness in the games of Legend of Zelda. It's always a reoccurring cycle. Um, in the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, um, that's where it all begins. You play as the hero who gets the sword of light made by Hylia herself. She's the main goddess. She forges a blade called the Goddess Sword, and you, as the hero, are wielding this sword, and your goal is to pretty much reacquire the power of light to form it into the Master Sword. Like in that game, you are forging the Master Sword. Like that's where it all begins. Um, and so there is a darkness called Demise. He's basically like the cataclysm, like the darkness, right? And so you go up against him in Skyward Sword as the hero. And I don't think you're necessarily named Link, but you acquire the name Link in Skyward Sword. So like that's where like the lineage of Links begin.
I was gonna say,
Um,
is Link supposed to be like a moniker as far as like he's
yeah,
linked to all the other links? Is that
I
what it's
I,
supposed
I
to
want
be?
to I want to say so. Yeah, like that's like a pretty like good way of saying it because like
Yeah.
that's how I would interpret it. But like in Skyward Sword, the villain isn't Ganon, it's Demise. But whenever you fight and kill Demise, you don't necessarily kill him, but you seal him away with the Master Sword. Um, and in his dying words, Demise says that forevermore, for millennium onward, I will curse you with this darkness, so that way you will forever have to usurp and steal the darkness away, so that way light can prevail. And so from that game on, that's why we have Ocarina of Time. That's why we have A Link to the Past. That's why we have all these other games, was because of this initial curse. And the darkness that keeps being reborn from Demise's shade is Ganon. And he's the one that, yeah, he uses an army to take over the lands, but he really doesn't need it because he is worthy of the Triforce of Power, which is one of the three governing like golden forces of the entire, Legend of Zelda universe. And throughout every game there are hints of darkness and like it's always Ganon that gets brought up. So I would definitely say out of like, all the villains for me that's been iconic, I fought so many different forms of Ganon. There's Boar Ganon, there's Calamity Ganon, there is, you know, like Ganon from Ocarina of Time where he's wielding fucking giant claymores. Um, there's just so many
That one
forms
was
of
my
darkness.
favorite.
Yeah, the fucking loved it. The new one, Breath of the Wild, fighting Ganon like that on horseback while you're wielding the bow of light, like that was the shit. I enjoyed that so much. Um, and in the new game, Tears of the Kingdom, Ganon is represented to be this fucking samurai, which is bad fucking ass. Like I enjoyed that narrative. I haven't beat Tears of the Kingdom yet, but
That's
that's
the
how
newest one,
he's
right?
That's
yeah,
pretty sick.
yeah, he's interpreted to be this badass who wields one of the seven tears. That's I forgot the like how the story goes for the tears, like the actual like tear shard, but it's supposed to wield like essence of the goddess herself, and it's basically like unparalleled power. And Ganon himself wields one as a dark force, kind of similar to him wielding the Triforce of Power and being worthy being seen in the eyes of the gods to be worthy to wield the Triforce of Power is enough for me. Like that, like you, all right, like that's if there's anyone that should wield the Triforce of Power, it's Ganon. Like that's hands fucking down. If you guys have ever played a fucking Legend of Zelda game, like it's
I have never beaten a Legend of Zelda
such
game,
a
but I've
good
played a
staple.
couple.
I've one and done them on my streams so many fucking
I
times.
remember that.
Dude, I remember
I
that. I remember
I
that.
fucking play them so many times, dude. It's Legend of Zelda is one of those games where I will always come back to and still be able to enjoy it like I did. I actually did a randomizer of Ocarina of Time very recently, which was fucking nuts, but it was, dude, Ganon is bis for villains, I'd say.
Yeah.
Definitely one of
Good
the top ones.
Fucking pick, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're muted.
TB, you're muted.
You're muted.
I was gonna say
you
that
go.
those are two great picks from Umbra back to back with Handsome Jack and with Ganon. I think I really like those. Those are really good.
My last one is gonna fucking blow your minds because none of y'all will know it.
Well, is it back to me or did we Shelly went? Okay, yes, back to me.
It's circled around.
Okay, well, for my final choice in the top villains, Umbra probably will be familiar with this. I don't know about so much Shelly and Pickle, but Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII.
He was my pick. He was one of my picks. Yeah. He was my honorable mention. I will just say
Okay.
that. He wasn't my final pick, but he was
Yeah.
on my list as an honorable mention. Yes.
He
Goddamn Sephiroth, bro.
he's he what I can say about him, and I fucking wrote a bunch of notes down. And there's so much more to even write about this, but he comes into the game so mysteriously. He quite literally changes what the presumed plot of the game is. You go into a game pretty much assuming like you're kind of like an eco terrorist for for all intents and purposes. You're trying to save the planet. That is your goal. You're trying to stop these reactors. You're kind of thinking maybe to some degree, oh, this is what we're doing. This is what's going on. Maybe there'll be some kind of adventure in and out of it or whatever pertaining to this. But we're trying to go up against this big corporation that's trying to suck the life force out of the planet. And as far as as far as the player is, this is like the world winning where it's huge. We've only been to, I think, like 2 different sectors at this point. And then you go into like the main middle part, which is like the big Shinra building, but there's like a whole bunch of there's 8 sectors total, I want to say, in Midgar. So you're thinking probably, oh man, there's a lot to explore in this place, but you only go to 2. They drop the plate on 1, so you're like, well, I can't go back there. And then you enter the Shinra building. You go through fighting all these fucking things, or you like sneak in through the stairway where you fucking run for fucking ever, or you just kind of fight head on and just fight everybody, right? You get to a boss, you end up getting captured, you get Red 13 to join your party, you're jailed or whatever, you're just talking back and forth, and then all of a sudden you go to sleep and the whole fucking mood changes. We are first introduced to this man by basically him slaughtering everyone, and it damn near turned into a horror game. When I was a kid, this part of the game fucking terrified me. I remember like being so scared that I was like, I don't know if I'm strong enough to deal with this. Am I supposed to deal with this? Like, I'm scared to see what did this, like there's blood all in the hallways, slashes everywhere, all kinds of fucking character, like random like NPCs are dead or whatever. And you go through sword in the back of the boss of Shinra or whatever. Later on, pretty much shortly following that scene, there's like a big chase scene. You fight a couple bosses. You get to this spot and you're told the fucking legend of Sephiroth, which low key is a lie, but it's only because Cloud's memories are all fucked up. But you get the gist of the story later on. You get more gaps filled in if there's other people there and present, but you're kind of exposed to this lore of the villain of the badass that is Sephiroth, the flame, seeing him kind of like smirk at like all the destruction and chaos he's fucking created. Killing off I believe Tifa's dad, fucking Cloud's mom died. So many of the villagers in Nibelheim are dead. He's trying to get to his mother, who's behind this machine where blood comes out of it, seemingly, and all this shit. They've got the Genova cells and all this, just so much crazy shit. And that's just fucking one game that came out in 1993, 1994. Then you have all the fucking shit that came out after that. Final Fantasy VII, Advent Children, where we're introduced to 3 other like would-be Sephiroths or whatever that contain similar DNA, just for the final one to literally turn into Sephiroth himself. and Cloud and Sephiroth go back to back in fighting in the fashion that they fought in Final Fantasy VII. We see him in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 as, in my opinion, the hardest villain or the hardest bosses in either of those games by far and large. It is extremely. I could not beat Kingdom Hearts 1 Sephiroth until I found a guide. Every other boss, Phantom, Ice Titan, all that other shit, easy peasy, fucking lemon squeezy. I could not realize that the only way to get past the Sin Harvest Rainbow was to use Strike Raid when he fucking does that shit. I did not know that shit, and it bothered the fuck out of me that I could not fucking do it forever. And when I finally got it done, I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. All the fucking moves he does, it just an epic villain. The lore is fucking, I could go on for days about how they fucking made a game about Zack, and you learned that he wasn't even a fucked up psychopath when he first came out. He was a regular guy that was manipulated by a military. I believe there's a new game that came out where we see like an even younger version of fucking Sephiroth, where he has like short hair instead of the long, beautiful hair that we see him with all the time. He looks like a fucking pretty boy. And just like
He always looks like a pretty boy.
they just keep bringing up more and more lore for this guy, and to me that just like attributes to how great of a villain that he was when he was first introduced. Phenomenal. People wanted more of him. People still want to see more of him. It's always, and it's literally anytime it's him and Cloud, those are the guys. Those are always the ones that I feel like he's such a respectable villain because of Final Fantasy Duodecim. They have to trick Cloud into being a part of the team with him, I believe. So they have Cloud and Sephiroth on one team. And then eventually you find like in the second game they made or whatever, they find out that like Chaos took some of like what's the goddess? It's Chaos and I forget the other one, the light one or whatever. But he took some of their heroes, their champions or whatever, and then tricked Cloud into working for Chaos. Then Cloud fucking switches sides later on, is on the side of good, and it's like him and Sephiroth fucking, they're the big badasses. It's always Sephiroth being a badass, and then Cloud being the only one that can really fuck with him, ultimately speaking. Even in the defeats that you give him as Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, that the end cutscene does not lead to them being real defeats. They lead to like, all right, I'm bored of this or I'm tired of this. Kingdom Hearts 2, you defeat Sephiroth, Cloud steps in and they fucking teleport. Like he's just such a fucking badass that like, my God, he just doesn't die. He just keeps coming back and we get more and more of him. And I fucking love it every time.
Oh yeah, that's a good choice. Good choice.
Mm-hmm.
Those fucking fights in Kingdom Hearts were detrimental to my mental health.
By the way, you can, when he does descend Heartless Angel and reaps you of your health, you can also use Strike Raid to break him out of that. Or better yet, you could use magnet or the strongest form of magnet, and you can break him out of that too. You won't do it. Yeah, I've done a lot of. I played that game through and through. I played it all through without healing the fucking whole way.
Nice.
What?
I sure have, and on stream too, buddy.
Nice.
No cure challenge was a staple of 2021, and I didn't
I wouldn't be able to do that.
I
would not be able to do that.
Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, and 3. I was not allowed to use cure or use potions of any kind.
Yeah.
I only relied on environmental heals, and I had to turn
Donald?
I had to actually turn Donald off of healing when I needed it. It would just be randomized for me. So I would have to rely on.
It's not like he was very helpful in the first place, but yeah.
So like the deck command attacks for like Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance, luckily for me, you can unlock Heal Strike. So like there were times where like I can heal with the Keyblade, but outside of that, nah.
Oh,
like,
nice.
No heals for me, bro. So fucking fucking Christ, I would never
I
play that game again.
Never be able to do that.
It was a stupid challenge.
Is it my turn now?
Yes. Oh no, it's. Oh, it is. Yeah, it is.
This one, TB, you're not going to know about this one. I'm sorry. And this is very typical of me. And I know you all know this is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
but I picked 2.
Oh, wait. Is it of the same series?
Yes.
I think I know, but I don't want to say. But I think I know. I think I know which 2. And they're from the Same bullshit,
I'm a-
same dumb shit, same betrayal, asshole motherfuckers. I think I know.
I'm gonna just say,
I
if you're
think I
not about to
know.
pick Cowboys right now, I'm going to be highly disappointed.
I swear
It's
if you don't
Cowboys.
pick, I
Okay.
swear if you don't. Yes, yes, I know. I
I
fucking
was like,
knew
where
it.
are the fucking Cowboys?
So it's Micah Bell and Dutch Vanderlyn.
Yep.
The-
I
there's so many
got a
things in
plan,
the
Arthur.
story. There's so many things in the story that are just such a red flag from the get-go. I mean, it's not like you don't know starting Red Dead 2 that Dutch is going to be a bad guy. But I mean,
Unless you're me and you
spoiler
didn't play
alert,
the
TB.
first game.
Oh yeah, I didn't play the first game first either, and so I had no idea. But yeah, there's two instances where Arthur is about to die. Dutch sees it and just walks away.
Mm.
And it's really fucking heartbreaking. One was in Guarma where a pipe bursted or a pipe got shot of Arthur's head. It knocks him down. A guy gets on top of Arthur and is about to kill him. And then who is it? It was Rain's Fall
Yeah.
that saves him.
Yeah, I think so.
And
It's
then
either
this
Rain's Fall or the other guy.
Eagle flies. One of the two. Yeah.
Like indigenous guys?
Yes.
Indians.
Okay.
Oh no, that wasn't in Guarma. I'm sorry, that was in the oil plant. And the other time was in the end of the game where we lose our beloved Arthur. Sad. And yeah, Dutch just
Shout
walks away
out.
because he can't choose. Dutch walks away because he can't choose between Micah and Arthur, which is very dumb. But yeah, the reason I picked both of them is because one doesn't exist without the other. The manipulation of Micah is pretty much the downfall of Dutch. And without that, Dutch doesn't turn into the absolute
Gross
shithole
ass
of a
old
person
man in the
that you
first game.
that you find in the first game.
Oh, so you're saying that it's Micah's fault that Dutch is the way he is.
Yes.
I wouldn't say
Okay.
100% that
Not
it's Micah's
100%
fault,
no,
but
but it's also it has to do with the fact that you know for a fact throughout the whole game that Dutch has plenty of fucking money for the entire gang to live very easily for the rest of their lives. But he wants the power. And that's the problem. He just wants more power. He wants control over all these people, and it eventually just it turns into him trusting Micah over Arthur because Micah's manipulation is like, "Hey, we need to keep moving. We need to keep doing this shit." And Arthur's like, "Nope. We need to figure out how we're going to live the rest of our lives, or we're all going to be dead very soon."
I didn't know that. I never really thought about it from that. Like I've played up into the game to where you get to like that. I forget what that main like nice looking city is called.
Saint Denis.
Yeah, there you go. I played up pretty much to that point. It's like I've seen like the swamp stuff, traveled a lot of like the locations or whatever, just like exploring and whatnot. But like story wise, the story had got me to that place. And I do remember thinking that Micah was definitely an asshole.
Wait, how did you
Obviously.
play up to there? That is such a like. How did you not continue? What
I
the
didn't.
fuck?
So everybody else had finished the game and was pretty much telling me what happens, and I was doing side quests. But just like in Grand Theft Auto, same thing. I tried to do all the side quests in the story and stuff, and eventually, like a game that I really want to play is like captures my attention or something, or I want to do something else. Like
I
just
have that
because there's
problem.
there's just so much shit to do in
See,
those
I
games
have
that
the
I never
opposite of that
finished
problem. My first playthrough is always
the story.
story, 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 story. I stick to the story. The second playthrough, I do everything I possibly can.
That would probably be a better deal for me if I did that. But a lot of times, like, unless I really, really like a game, I'm probably like, I keep telling myself, I want to go back to Resident Evil 4 and fucking try to get the platinum trophy. I'm not gonna do that shit. I know I'm not gonna do
Wait,
it.
what's
Like
the
realistically.
what do you have to do to get the platinum trophy?
One of the things is you have to beat the game in like 5 hours or some shit like that. Another one is I
think
want
I
to
could do it.
say, I think there's another one for is it not upgrades or is it like using specific weapons? I want to say it's like not changing weapons other than
I
like
think
the
it would be
weapons you have
using
to
the
use or some shit
pistol
like
like
that.
the whole time.
Yeah, something like that. And I was just like, I don't know that I'm gonna do either of these two, but like I know like for what I'm doing right now,
the marksman.
because
No, no, dog. I'm buying the bazooka. I know there's a boss I'm about to fight. Like,
uh,
I'm gonna one
it's
and
it,
done his ass.
there's some tough shit about it. Same thing for like Resident Evil Village. Same thing. I was like,
Mhm.
I want to go back and play this game and platinum it, but like I don't have the patience to play it. If I have to play a game more than 2 times, there's probably no chance I'm gonna get the platinum. Because like while it may be cool and the story's dope or whatever, it's hard for me to think like, okay, I have to play this game on whatever level that I'm playing it on at least to get like the rest of the items to upgrade everything. Because I think that's one of the things too is like upgrade all the guns or something like that. And then so I have to play the game at least one more time all the way through, do all the shit or whatever, right? And then I'm going to have to play it again just to get the speed run or whatever the fuck it is, and
Oh,
then
yep.
potentially playing it. I can't remember if the hardest difficulty is a thing or not, or a harder difficulty or not. But if that's a thing too, it's like I'm not gonna play this game again on a harder difficulty to fucking and have to start from scratch basically, because most of those games like when you play it on a harder difficulty you're starting from scratch or whatever, and I'm like I'm just not gonna, I'm not built for that. Like it was cool to play
No.
it the one time, but I'm not gonna do it again and on a harder difficulty. I'm cool.
I'm
straight.
still working on the fucking platinum for Red Dead.
Yeah.
Because some of the things have to do with luck, because it's you're playing poker and you have to get like certain hands or blackjack,
Yeah,
and if you
like,
don't get the
it's-
hands, you don't get it. So
and it's a
Yeah.
lot.
you're just
There's
playing
a
for
lot
hours.
to 100%
There's so much
that
shit
game.
you have to do.
It is so much.
Roseby.
Okay.
The final touch. Final
Okay.
boss.
Well, okay, so I kind of had two-ish. So I'm just going to explain, right? Because we're on our last one. Okay, so I'm
Yeah.
just going to explain mine. So I had Resident Evil. I had 3 under Resident Evil. So I had Wesker, like y'all did. But I also had Lady Dimitrescu and Nemesis. Okay? When I tell you Nemesis pissed me the fuck off multiple times because that big ass bitch would not die, okay? Motherfucker would not die, and then you're running around the city and he's just like, oh, fuck yeah, I could come and attack you. And you're trying to run in and out of buildings and grab shit, and he's just like knocking your ass around because he's just big and buff and strong. And you're just like, all right, dog, thanks. Like, I'm just trying to get shit and get the fuck out of here. And killing him is just wild because he's just like this big, nasty, like, I don't even know how to explain what he looks like. He's just a giant blob thing with arms and like,
Yeah, he like transforms or something, right?
yeah, and it like a
Yeah.
couple of times he transforms. And when I tell you, this motherfucker has been hit with literally everything possible, okay? Throughout the entire game. Like, and you're like, ah, he's gotta be dead now. Nope. Like, not absolutely the fuck not. He's not dead. And in the end, when you're just like, you take this, like, what is it? Like, it's like a laser. It's a laser something. It's some sort of power weapon. It's kind of crazy. And that's what you have to use in order to kill him. But like while he's attacking you, you have to go push in these like giant battery things in order to be able to fucking. Oh my God. That shit made me so mad. Especially because I didn't know you had to go push in the things at first. So I'm running around and I'm just shooting him like, why aren't you dying? Like, so that he's a good one. And then obviously Lady Dimitrescu, not only a fucking
Mommy.
hot ass villain, like beautiful, okay? The story with her daughters having like hand
Her
with
daughters
everything,
are hot too.
having a hand in everything with Mother Miranda, and just like the total dommy mommy energy she gives the entire time, and then when she finally turns into that nasty, like she's the flying one, right? You're like outside
Like a
and
dragon, yeah.
yeah, and
That's
it's just,
right. I forgot
it's
about
so
that.
fucking sick. Like it is so cool. So those were my like Resident Evil had its own little thing for me. And then my other one that I would have mentioned is the Joker from the Batman series. The Batman series has always been like one of my favorite franchises for video games, especially because like it kind of kicked off the start of superhero like combat games, like but like more role playing, right? And like even when I play the Spider-Man games, I'm like, "Oh, this is Batman." Like this right here was in the Batman game. Mechanic exactly the same, no different. And it's just like it's so cool. And if you haven't played those games as well, they're so good. I got them free at one point, like all of them on like PlayStation. I got them free on Steam at one point or for like super cheap, and I will never not love those games. And then especially cuz you could put like Harley in some sexy ass outfits throughout the game. So good. And then some you could play as like Catwoman and stuff. It's so good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm busy.
final one.
The flan bee.
Okay. This one I saved for last because I know you said it wasn't in any order, but for me, this has got to be one of my top favorites because the lore, the story, his upbringing, how it comes about, his downfall, and what happens afterwards is literally a historic moment in gaming history. And my villain is Arthas Menethil. Arthas Menethil is a crown prince of Lordaeron and a paladin of the Silver Hand before he discovers the cursed blade Frostmourne and becomes the legendary Lich King of World of Warcraft.
like,
What a fucking build up.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I think this is WoW in my head.
Fuck yes. Dude, the fucking Lich King, bro. Everyone, like, even if you've never played WoW, you know, and you've probably have seen the sword. The fucking crazy blade Frostmourne. So like it starts out like, you know, he's trying to like prove himself by becoming a paladin of the Silver Hand. And they're pretty much just protectors of their kingdom, Lordaeron. But a plague gets unleashed onto the land. So he is trying to find a way to kind of fight off this plague because it's starting to infect like the western the lands of where they live. It ended up infecting Stratholme, which was their like crown city. And he, in order to fight it off, he ordered his army to kind of kill them off because they imbibed in the poison that, you know, pretty much powered the plague. Um, and by doing so, like he just went down a dark, corrupted path, leading him to discover the cursed blade Frostmourne and becoming a Death Knight, which allows him to pretty much pull off some necromancy type things, like he can raise an army of undead, to fight at his command and will. And this was all to search for a way to save his people from a plague of the undead. And so by wielding Frostmourne, he becomes the sword's champion, which is the Lich King, an entity of immense power and malice who seeks to destroy all life on Azeroth. So, in the expansion, Wrath of the Lich King, you as the player get to band up with all your friends, all your mates, and you go and raid Icecrown Citadel, which is basically the Lich King's kingdom. And you start at the very bottom of this fucking citadel, and you go all the way to the top where King Arthas sits, and you kill him, and you knock down the Lich King himself, and save all of Azeroth from dying from a fucking a plague of undeath.
Lich
That's
King.
pretty cool.
And dude, the raid was fucking awesome. I got to like when I fucking started playing WoW with Flip, we started playing like a fucking weird expansion for WoW, and like I kind of got bored of it, so I went off to play Classic. And at the time they were doing Wrath of the Lich King, and it was the final phase, so I got to see all the cutscenes. And dude, the way they do cutscenes now isn't the same way they used to do it. Because like the build up for the Lich King was fucking god tier. He's definitely one of my favorite villains, and I just got into WoW this year. But like, dude, like the expansion was great. The fucking raid was awesome. Even the raid itself had like an end cutscene, and it showed like you alongside like the champion of the New Kingdom, basically using the light of Azeroth to kill the Lich King, and the guy that you help ends up taking the mantle of Lich King to suppress this plague. And now, like, one of your allies now sits atop Icecrown Citadel as the Lich King to further prevent like this plague of undeath. Which, like, the story of the Lich King is fucking awesome. It's great. It's so great.
Like Lich King
Wow.
in like any series that he's in is always like
Yeah.
an epic villain, no matter what.
It's fucking awesome. I mean, the sword is phenomenal. When when I went to go visit you guys, and I showed Nick the Blades of Chaos that I seen at this shop in the
Oh
mall,
yeah.
right next to the Blades of Chaos was the Frostborn, like a real Frostborn, and it was the big sword that has like the runes on it. And it's kind of like decorated in like a blue hue for like obviously the Frostborn part. But man, it's such a beautiful fucking sword. I love it, dude. It's awesome. It's awesome. So
Fuck
good,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
dude. Fucking love WoW, dude. It's so great. Fucking ugh. Play it after
Has
this right
anybody
now.
got some honorable mentions?
They said mine's really. The Abby Anderson was one of them, and the other one I had was Frost from Fight Night Champion. That was just a
Oh shit.
that was a motherfucker for sure.
My honor.
My honorable. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
My honorable mention was pretty basic, and I thought it was worth saying something because it's such an iconic character. And it's Bowser.
Mm. Josh was actually saying that one when I was like trying to come up with villains. He was like, I'd say Bowser,
Mhm.
and he said some other ones, and I was like, I haven't really thought about that because I'm not like super big into Mario personally. Like I've played the
Yeah, but at the
Mario
same
games,
time,
but
every single one of us has fought Bowser at one point or another.
for sure, for sure.
Fuck that turtle bitch ass.
Oh
No, the real culprit is the goddamn Koopa witch. That's I feel like the Koopa witch is bewitching Kamek. That's the fucking name of her
Yeah.
or him. And I
Mhm.
think he like that witch is bewitching Bowser into doing the dirt because Bowser's not that bad of a fella. I mean, we play Mario Party with
He
him.
just
He's
wants to
got to be a
fuck
good
Peach.
guy.
That's all.
Yeah, he just wants to fuck Peach. That's all, dude. It's chill, brother. It's all game. D- Rosalina is a thing, you know. Like
Well,
She
now
keeps
as
getting
Mar,
captured.
now
yeah.
they have this new bitch named Pauline.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Pauline.
that's
Oh
my
yeah. That's
girl.
yeah. Pauline's kind of fire. I'm not gonna lie. The fucking opera singer bitch. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. My honorable mention was gonna be Master Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts.
That's a good one.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
because he
That's a good one.
his devious planning throughout the entire series has got to be one of the most craziest fucking like Matrix like fucking like plans of all time. Like from
absolutely.
planning from even before like anything even transpires, like Master Xehanort's plan was already in place. Um and I just think like the entire like even like his forms of him like I mean Master Xehanort as a villain was badass, but Xemnas was probably the better form of like the villains in my opinion. I fucking love Xemnas, Ansem, you know, all the forms of Xehanort were fucking awesome as
I was
villains.
just gonna bring up Ansem because at some point in the game I was like, wait, who the fuck is who?
Yeah.
All the-
Yeah. They're everyone was starting to call themselves Ansem by Kingdom Hearts 2 and I got confused.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
But like, yeah, man, like Xehanort was definitely a good villain for me. Like up until the end too, like he kind of gets like a redemption form for himself. And like even
Hmm.
post Kingdom Hearts 3, like they released like a game called Melody of Memory, and it's basically just a rhythm game, but it's about Kyrie, like what happens to Kyrie post 3.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and you kind of get like a little cutscene interaction between Kyrie and Xehanort. And Xehanort's not really posing as like this villain, but more or less posing as like well, if you hadn't killed me this so soon, I would have been able to fix what I've been trying to do this whole time. And so it kind of reveals like this weird arc of Xehanort. Like maybe he wasn't such a bad guy after all. Maybe he was actually trying to prevent something that is inevitably gonna happen. And that's
Like
because in
Thanos.
kind of like on a Thanos scale, because they actually made like a movie for Kingdom Hearts and they put it in 2.8, which was like the newer game before 3. They put out like a fragment with Aqua, but they also released a movie with it, and it told like the lore like way before like Sora, Ventus, Aqua, Terra, all of them. It tells the story of the 5 foretellers and the Master of Masters, and they have like this crazy devious plan to like kind of revive Kingdom Hearts, but revive Kingdom Hearts and what would essentially be like our world in their universe. Like,
Fuck, you're making
um,
me want to play Kingdom Hearts right now.
dude, I can go, dude. I know the lore from the back of my hand because I've played it so many times and I
Is that why
learned it
that
because I,
preview looks like it's in the real world,
yeah, it looks like it's in
like Japan or something?
like it looks like it's in, yeah, I was like in Japan, yeah. It looks fucking insane. Like, yeah, it looks like it's in our world. Like it looks like they managed to kind of break the wall, like the fifth wall, even you can say, because like the way it's interpreted is like you are playing as Sora, and Sora is going through these worlds, but now it's kind of like reverse. Like now you are actually Sora, like in this unreal sense of unreality where he's now in the real world. You are now basically him.
Okay.
Um, and like it's kind of a weird like take on it too, because like the phone game kind of did the same thing. Like they did release a canonical phone game for Kingdom Hearts, and I played it, and it's basically that movie that I was mentioning.
Doesn't
But
that come
you,
out in part 3 too? Like what happens in there affects part
yeah,
3?
yeah. The phone game, you are playing as your own player. Like you create a player. Um, at the end of this phone game, it's revealed that whenever you play as the player in the phone game, you're in the Keyblade War. Like the Keyblade War is taking place. And spoiler alert, like you obviously die in the Keyblade War, but people who didn't play the phone game don't know that as the player of the phone game, you become Xehanort. Like you get reborn in the light, and it shows you as baby Xehanort. So
Oh
whenever you're
wow.
playing the phone game and you die and you get reborn, you're reborn as fucking Xehanort, the fucking main antagonist of the whole series the whole time. And so it's basically you as the player from the phone game doing everything that's happening in throughout the whole series. And now it's like kind of reverse role going forward. It's dude, Kingdom Hearts
All
is
that for nothing.
dude, literally, yeah, it's kind of insane because there's so much more to Kingdom Hearts that even I don't know, but it's just fucking gotta wait for 4. Like that's
Yeah.
and from what I've read, apparently 4 is going to be like potentially the last we see Sora. Apparently, from what I read, the voice actor kind of like went on like an emotional rant about his connection to
I
Sora and
heard
how
about that. Yeah.
potentially it's going to be like the last time he voice acts Sora, which is kind of crazy to me. To be honest,
Yeah.
it's insane. But yeah, that was my honorable mention. Xehanort, crazy villain,
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
Kingdom Hearts.
I
Team
feel
Rocket. Team Rocket was my other one.
like
Prepare for trouble, Mitch.
I feel like we had a pretty
Team...
good
All right, baby, you want to
list
take us out? Oh, okay.
of character. Are we going through them and like ranking our options, or are we just talking like it was just this
I
is
think we're.
it?
Yeah,
I think it's just a good
yeah,
discussion. Yeah,
yeah.
good discussion about
If
our
we want,
backgrounds.
I feel like if we ever want to do like a top list in like order, then that will probably be more of us like having a discussion beforehand. Like these are the villains we're bringing to the table, and then we can kind of vote amongst it, and then kind of bring our reasoning together for why we make the list of
I was
top
to
10
say,
villains
or
or
we
whatever
could
it is.
literally
You know?
just find a villains tier list and go through it. We could probably
That'd be
remove
cool
all the
too.
ones that we are like, I have no fucking clue who that is, but
No, we can make a special garbage tier for the ones we
okay.
don't know.
But yeah. All right, cool. Well, this is fun. You heard what you heard. Don't be salty.
Bye.